a utility belt, not a money belt. 6 million.
7 million. Never leave the cave without it.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're looking at the most distracting, misguided actor recasts for characters in movie sequels, prequels, and reboots. We're not saying the performances are necessarily bad, but they do lack the staying power of the original actor's take.
Good morning. My name's Bond. James Bond.
Don't move, Mr. Bond.
Number 10. Everyone. The Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas.
I know I should be happy, but I guess I always figured by this point in my life I'd have somebody special to share my success with.
Well, you always got me, Fred.
Thanks, Bond, but that's not really what I'm talking about.
Say what you will about 1994's The Flintstones, but the live-action casting was inspired. The Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas didn't even have that. After the original cast turned down a sequel, Universal overhauled the entire ensemble for a prequel. Even then, the differences in appearance were too distracting.
I'm Betty. I'll be your waitress. The fish is fresh. But be careful, so are the bus boys.
Mark Addy and company were sufficiently made up to resemble the characters from the classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon, but the predecessor's characterization around its cast's star power was lost with the new outfit. The controversy surrounding this was made worse by disastrous reviews and box office performance. Stephen Baldwin even got a Razzie nomination as Barney Rubble. As bad as Viva Rock Vegas is already, its primitive recasting method was truly rock bottom.
The Great Kazoo?
Gazoo. I come from a planet too far for you to fathom, and a civilization too advanced for you to comprehend.
Wait a minute, Fred. I'll bet we get wishes.
Number 9. Ben Affleck. The Sum of All Fears.
You're thinking Trapitsky.
No, I'm not.
It ain't Trapitsky either.
I know. It's Cholinsky.
No, it's not. Trust me.
Look, he is standing next to Elena Rishkov. He was banging her at the Geneva summit.
Cholinsky was not at Geneva. Trapitsky was at Geneva.
Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan went from a literary icon to a cinematic one through Alec Baldwin and Harrison Ford. Ford especially refined a rugged family man persona in 2 movies. Aging Ryan down while relocating him to the 2000s for The Sum of All Fears was obviously jarring. Never mind the miscasting of Ben Affleck. The so-called pretty boy's natural charm just didn't bear the gravitas that Ryan needed to carry this convoluted political thriller or its dense cast.
With all due respect, sir, I don't think that adds up. It adds up. You just don't like what it adds up to.
The franchise wisely focused more on Ryan's pathos through Chris Pine in Shadow Recruit, then John Krasinski on the Amazon show. As hard as it was for them to match Ford, Affleck didn't stand a chance in his bloated installment.
I don't think he did it, sir. I would bet he didn't do it.
If I could ask senior staff to remain behind for a few minutes, please.
Number 8. Jonathan Groff, The Matrix Resurrections.
Things have changed. The market's tough. I'm sure you can understand why our beloved parent company, Warner Brothers, has decided to make a sequel to the trilogy.
The Matrix trilogy had 2 unforgettable characters in Lawrence Fishburne's Morpheus and Hugo Weaving's villainous Agent Smith. While both actors didn't reprise their roles for The Matrix Resurrections, their characters did return as sentient programs to show off shape-shifting abilities.
Lies, lies, and more lies.
Smith?
What does the world come to when you can't even trust a program?
How?
Tom and I have more in common than you know.
Unfortunately, while Yahya Abdul-Mateen II was a natural successor to Fishburne, Jonathan Groff is no Hugo Weaving. The great, thoroughly prepared actor's delicate features couldn't be further from his predecessor's natural menace. It's hard to buy him as the same character, much less as a threat powerful enough to justify reviving this saga after almost 20 years. As much nostalgia and spectacle as The Matrix Resurrections still delivers for fans, Smith's babyface reincarnation was a crucial error.
Smoke?
Thought you quit.
I quit calling it a habit. Now it's just a guilty pleasure.
Number 7. Julianne Moore, Hannibal.
I'm here because I know Velda Drumgo. I've arrested her twice on RICO warrants, DEA and ATF. In addition to backing me up, we're here for the drugs and the weapons. You're here because our mayor wants to appear tough on drugs.
Jodie Foster's Oscar-winning portrayal of FBI rookie Clarice Starling was the dramatic anchor of The Silence of the Lambs. After a whole decade of anticipating her rematch with Anthony Hopkins' Hannibal Lecter, Foster shockingly opted out of Hannibal. Starling would instead be played by Julianne Moore, another top-tier actress who looks nothing like Foster. Her stature also lacked the same emotional depth and chemistry with Hopkins. Though Starling would naturally have thicker skin after 10 years, Foster said she turned down the project because the characterization was too different.
You're lucky you're not sworn here today, Starling.
Swear me! You swear too!
Clarice,
If the evidence is lacking, you'll be entitled to full reinstatement without prejudice.
Moore's efforts to avoid impersonation only compounded that issue. The altogether disappointing Hannibal's drastic, if not formulaic, remodel of a celebrated character was ultimately hard for fans to stomach.
What is your worst memory of childhood?
Jesus, Starling!
Can I help you, Mr. Crenler?
What the hell are you doing sitting there in the dark, Starling?
Thinking about cannibalism.
People in Justice are thinking too.
Number 6. Jai Courtney, Terminator Genesis.
I'll go back.
Why should I send you over all of them?
Because I'd die for Sarah Connor.
Unconvincing recasts have troubled the Terminator franchise ever since Nick Stahl took over John Connor in Rise of the Machines. Terminator Genisys was especially egregious for overhauling the very first movie with starkly new faces. Whether the unrelated Amelia and Jason Clarke brought something to the related Connors, Jai Courtney was an instantly controversial choice for Kyle Reese. He had built a bad reputation as an underactor overrunning major productions.
I need answers, all right? Right now. How'd that liquid metal thing know where to intercept me? Huh? Where'd it come from? And who the hell's the skin job? What the hell is going on?
He arguably had less material than predecessors Michael Biehn and Anton Yelchin, but on top of looking so different, Courtney couldn't manage Reese's essential charisma and chemistry with his family. With all the potential that Genesis ultimately betrays, this supposedly heroic freedom fighter was a letdown from the casting.
What day is it? What year?
May 12th, 1984. The day you arrived.
Number 5. Stuart Townsend, Queen of the Damned.
Whether it was that first meal or the 100 years of rest, I'm not sure. But suddenly I was feeling better than ever.
Tom Cruise debuted Lestat de Leoncourt for the screen with Gentlemanly Menace in Interview with the Vampire. In Queen of the Damned, Stuart Townsend brought the vampire into the 21st century as a heavy metal god. It's a tricky rebrand, especially with the first film's cruel antagonist meeting his match in the Queen of all Vampires. Unfortunately, the writing fails to faithfully revive Lestat even without such inorganic recasting.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but what I remember about vampires is that you guys generally keep your identity secret.
Yes, but why hide it in this day and age? I've hidden in the shadows for centuries.
Townsend's bland performance is not much more convincing. Although Cruise was controversial casting in 1994, his performance more than made up for that. Sam Reed would finally do Lestat justice again in AMC's acclaimed adaptation of Interview with the Vampire. Alas, the butchery in Townsend's casting lives on.
Why must we hide, Marius? We are the powerful. We are the immortal. We should walk fearless in the open, no?
Number 4. Bryce Dallas Howard, The Twilight Saga Eclipse.
It'll be a last-minute decision. I told you how it works.
Twilight fans eagerly anticipated Victoria Sutherland's rise to power in the third installment of the series. Rochelle Lefebvre projected her threatening force even as a secondary villain in the first 2 movies. So those fans were outraged when Bryce Dallas Howard assumed the role in Eclipse, with a very different look and different mannerisms.
I'm doing this for us, so that we can feed. Without their retaliation, I can't live in fear anymore, waiting for them to attack.
She reportedly turned down 2008's Twilight, accepting the role only after it established a major franchise that went with the bigger name. Lefebvre publicly disputed Summit Entertainment's claim that she was fired over scheduling conflicts. If her replacement really was out of studio greed, the decision is all the more offensive. It doesn't help that Victoria, despite Howard's best efforts, wound up disappointingly retooled and underwritten overall.
Don't listen, Riley. I told you about their mind tricks.
I can read her mind, so I know what she thinks of you.
He's lying.
Number 3. Maria Bello, The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor.
We're all dying to know. Is the Scarlett O'Keefe character really based on you?
Honestly, I can say she's a completely different person.
Rachel Weisz caught her big break in Hollywood with 1999's The Mummy. Her Evelyn Carnahan and Brendan Fraser's Rick O'Connell became a family across 2 movies, which was more important to fans than Universal Pictures thought. The scheduling issues that forced Weisz out of Tomb of the Dragon Emperor for Maria Bello may have been ruinous. Bello certainly had the chops, but Evie's drastically altered appearance and mannerisms distracted from her chemistry with the other characters.
We spent our entire lives searching for priceless artifacts, and the one thing that's most precious to us we've lost.
When the film underperformed at the box office, analysts didn't just blame the 7-year wait or bad reviews. Evie's recasting really did compromise viewers' investment. It's a classic reminder that even the most lavish Hollywood franchises need to respect their characters and audiences.
I'm afraid we've retired from the espionage game, haven't we, dear?
Yeah, we don't do that anymore. We've finished. Completely done.
Number 2. George Lazenby, on Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Good morning. My name's Bond. James Bond.
Don't move, Mr. Bond.
One of Hollywood's first major franchise recasts couldn't have happened to a worse role. For 6 movies, Sean Connery developed James Bond into one of the most intriguing figures on the screen. Of all the major talents considered for the codename 007, it ultimately went to Australian model George Lazenby. He had never acted before on Her Majesty's Secret Service, and many say it shows.
Look, you don't owe me a thing. I think you're in some sort of trouble. Would you like to talk about it?
Others, however, commend Lazenby's natural presence as the debonair spy. Either way, Albert Broccoli taking a chance on a first-timer was a scandal that continues to bewilder audiences. Several great actors have since interpreted 007 with unique style and high praise, but with backlash and pressure, Lazenby remains the only Bond to not have a sequel.
Request granted. Not even with regret.
What did you expect? A knighthood?
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. George Clooney, Batman and Robin.
Who invited you?
I was just hanging around.
I thought you were going to stay in the museum, round up some thugs.
How about nice to see ya? Glad you're here to save my life?
Bruce Wayne has had many faces behind Batman's mask in live action. Val Kilmer was a worthy successor to Michael Keaton despite tension on the set of Batman Forever. This led to Batman and Robin's first of countless mistakes, George Clooney. The ER star's cheeky delivery and shaky head missed the dark charisma at the core of Wayne's character. The hackneyed crusader was lost in an ensemble of miscast hams.
I can't trust him not to get hurt.
Perhaps the truth is you really don't trust anyone.
Now, don't tell me you're on his side again.
And Clooney might have lost his clout as a leading man if he hadn't proven his talent time and again. Still, he readily admits to hating his performance in the all-around terrible Batman and Robin. Even Clooney accepts that he was the ultimate injustice to one of the most iconic roles in film.
Hey, Barry. No, where's... You... No, you can't. You're not Batman.
What are your least favorite recasting decisions in movies? Give us your pitch in the comments.
Wait, I have to take a picture.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.